You know, we all have moments in our lives where we may have to defend our actions, feelings, or even our beliefs. In today's Monday Motivation, WSCV's Transformation Motivation Coach Carol Mendoza is here for a topic that I hope we can all relate to. It centers around peace. And Carol, we were talking not long ago, just a few hours ago,
Yes.
in fact. I love the phrase that you shared with me, peace as a weapon. Tell our audience, what do you mean by that?
Well, I think that most people see peace as more of a feeling, sort of a passive thing, like I have peace, right? And that's great, and that can be very powerful. But if we think of it more as a weapon, it's not about ignoring conflict or pretending that something is not wrong, right? It's about choosing to respond in a way that disarms the anger instead of fueling it.
Well, give us an example of what that may look like in real life.
Well, let's say you're in a heated conversation. So one way to change that is to lower your voice instead of raise your voice.
That does make sense, because when you raise your voice, to me, it's like you're adding fuel to the fire.
Right. And if someone else is upset and you bring a sense of calm to it, that changes the entire tone of the room, right? You could also even ask a question, something like, well, what matters most to you right now in this moment? Help me understand what you are trying to say. Something along those lines, where you sort of slow things down a little bit to get the conversation going.
So it's not about avoiding those tough conversations.
No.
It's about how you handle them, right?
That's correct. And I would say that peace is more of an action. If you see peace as an action instead of a noun, I think it makes things easier. You, instead of lashing out, you step back. When that sort of frustration feels more natural, and maybe not being as empathetic feels more natural, stop and take a breath. And remember that peace doesn't just protect you, it influences everyone that's around you.
You know, I never really looked at it this way, and you make so much sense. You honestly do. So peace is not just a feeling, it's really about how you handle that peace. It's a daily choice.
It absolutely is. It's something that is important to practice. It might look like pausing before you snap back at a family member, right? And taking that breath. I think if we can learn to recognize in ourselves, because we know when we're not feeling peace, right? We know that. So when you do, just take a deep breath and redirect, and going back and saying, okay, let's focus on one solution that we can all agree on, or let's step back and let's start this over again. So that, I think, can really be helpful. And even when you're online, you know, with social media and all of those things, instead of choosing to just type that comeback and hit the send button, take a minute to think about, how can I invite dialogue instead of division?
That is such a good point, Carol, because I think we've all been there where we're ready to lash out right away, and we don't really think about what the repercussions will be, how contagious our comments or our remarks are.
Right, exactly. If our culture is full of noise and anger and quick reactions, I think if we come at it from a place of peace, we can cut through all of that and use it more intentionally. Bring comfort to a situation instead of chaos.
Definitely good food for thought today in Monday Motivation. Now, we want to remind you also that you can see our previous Monday Motivation segments simply by going to WSCV.com/Monday Motivation. Carol, I want to thank you for your insight about peace and using it as a weapon. It's such a special topic today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Of course, we'll be right back.